Hey everybody, welcome once again to the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Wrestling Inc.'s own Raj Giri. Mr. Matt Morgan's going to be coming along in a little bit here, and we are going to talk about WWE Backlash, the SmackDown pay-per-view on May 21st, 2017. It just concluded. We're also going to give our thoughts a little bit on Takeover that happened last night, Takeover Chicago. But the big news, so if you watched Backlash and you're watching this pay-per-view, Jinder Mahal is the champ. Raj, did you see this coming?
Well, I mean, Jinder had been favored over the weekend to win the match. It shifted back to Orton today, but I thought he was gonna probably win, like by DQ, like with a Rusev interference or something like that. I didn't expect him to win the title, but if you're going all the way with someone, yeah, I guess you might as well. Otherwise it kind of cuts out their legs from underneath them. So. I was still surprised, but I see the reason that they did it.
And it feels like tonight with a lot of these finishes, and we'll get into it when we go match by match, I feel like they're just continuing it on because Money in the Bank is 4 weeks from tonight. It'll be here before we know it. That's the next SmackDown pay-per-view.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different ways they could go. I mean, obviously sticking Orton with Mahal, for the near future is one way. But you could go with AJ too. And move Nakamura to Owens, which was the plan at one point. So, or you keep Mahal with Orton until for another month, and then move to AJ like around SummerSlam. So there's a lot of different ways they can go with it, but it shakes things up, I guess. I've said it 1,000 times. I'd rather they did a natural build with Jinder as opposed to just throwing him. When all of a sudden he's winning matches after losing for years, and winning matches for 3 weeks. But it was different.
And I think it'll get him some press. I think some people will take notice. I think some people that stopped watching will at least have a WTF reaction, maybe tune in or check out some clips online. So I think the ripple effect of this, I think will overall be a positive. But online, I mean, even in our chat room right now, it seems people are pretty split on Jinder being the champ.
Yeah. I mean, in the crowd, if you would have told me 6 months ago that Jinder Mahal would be in the main event and half the crowd would be chanting, "Let's go Jinder," I'd say that's not happening, and that happened tonight.
Well, that's Chicago though, man. Notice no CM Punk chants tonight that I heard.
Yeah, no, I thought the crowd was going to crap on this match. And to my surprise, I thought it was a pretty good match, and it held my interest. It had me guessing. So, for the most part, I thought the event felt pretty lackluster until the AJ Styles match.
Yeah.
But then, the last hour delivered.
Yeah, absolutely. And just what an upset. Again, I mean, even 6 weeks ago, man, if I would have come on this podcast and said in 6 weeks, Jinder Mahal is going to be the WWE champion on SmackDown, I think you and Matt, I would have been fired from this podcast for that prediction. I could have made a lot of bets, so like 1,000,000-to-1 bets, and probably be collecting now, like a boss. But yeah, I mean, pre-Mania, that seemed just impossible. So absolutely, right. This is almost unparalleled. I'm trying to think in this sort of Cinderella story, especially for someone as a heel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's something, but I think the crowd, Chicago was the right town to do it in, because it was much more split tonight than anywhere else, and I think just a lot of shock, both pleasant and unpleasant from the crowd. But that's being said, let's take it match by match, talk a bit, starting with Ty Dillinger versus Aiden English. Now, Aiden English debuted his new look tonight. I saw this at the house shows with the paint splattered pants and the round sunglasses. But what do you think of this, of Aiden's gimmick now fully going to the singing? I mean, they gave that a lot of time tonight.
It just seems like opening match fodder,
Yeah.
He's someone I think could benefit from like vignettes and stuff like that. Like, I think they could do something with him because he is a good singer.
Yeah.
But it's not something I see him taking him to even like the US title level. So, but it gives him something to do. At least he's not off of TV.
I'm trying to think when he was in NXT, the only memorable thing he ever had with this gimmick in NXT was the sing off he did with Big Cass. And that was memorable because it was like, oh my God, Big Cass can really sing,
Yeah.
So I don't know. But Ty though, definitely continues to be over with the audience. What did you think of the match itself?
It was kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Well, I mean, it was a pre-show match, right? But it was weird that it was the only pre-show match. I mean, this was when we talked about it the other day, very stacked card.
Well, these B shows usually only have one pre-show match.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe Rowan versus Harper. I don't know. Something else could have been moved there and not been hurt by it. But okay, so let's talk about the opening match. And this, I think, maybe shocked some people that this was up first. But Nakamura versus Dolph Ziggler. Did that live up to your expectations?
I don't know. It was one of those weird ones because the match itself was good, but should Nakamura be, that 50-50 with someone who's been a job guy for, the last several years, and fighting from behind as opposed to being more of a showcase. I just thought he gave too much to Ziggler. Like I said, the match was good, but for him to come on the scene, I just felt like it should have been probably more dominant. And, but he did that with Sami Zayn too.
Although that Sami Zayn match, I mean, wasn't that like a 5-star match?
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. This was, like maybe 3.5 if you're rating.
Maybe
3. So yeah, I don't know. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't. It's kind of nothing. It's kind of disappointing.
Well, disappointing considering we've had a month building it up with some of the most painful vignettes of Ziggler on the mic. I mean, they really dragged this out. And comparing it to that Zayn match, I mean, Zayn and Nakamura was incredible, and this tonight was serviceable.
Yeah,
did what it needed to do. But I thought it was a weird choice to open the show with this because the crowd didn't even seem that into it.
Yeah, and I think you'd been kind of building a pay-per-view around this, and it just seemed like an odd choice. I mean, I guess if you want to start off with something hot, it's like either this or AJ.
Yeah.
So it was kind of disappointing, but hopefully that's it for Nakamura and Ziggler, and he can move on to something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh God, it's just been so awkward, so much of this. But even said with Nakamura's entrance, I'm surprised they didn't do. I mean, they had the violinist there for his debut, but not tonight. They didn't. I mean, it didn't feel as big after all this build.
Yeah. It just it felt like SmackDown until until AJ.
Yeah. So after that, this felt very SmackDown. I was very surprised they did this, but the tag title match, Breezango and the Usos. What did you think of them going so much comedy in the match itself? So
you're going to have to take this one because I had some house stuff coming up at this point that I had to take care of. So I only saw the first minute.
It could have, I mean, I talked about this before. I thought the best pure pre-show match last year, one of the best ones I saw, was the Usos versus Breezango. I think it was for Battleground or one of those. That was a fantastic match, very solid, especially for a pre-show. Tonight, I thought by doing comedy so much, I felt like we didn't really get a great match with rhythm because you had Tyler Breeze coming in as different characters. Now, looking online, a lot of people love this for the entertainment value, for the sort of, again, like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this. And I love Breezango. I wanted to see Breezango win tonight, but I thought that this was a chance for them to go beyond the comedy and establish that, okay, you've seen all these vignettes, but remember, these guys can go in the ring. And they didn't do that tonight, in my opinion. They did okay, but where do they go from here? I mean, they're clearly over with a certain segment of the audience, but with New Day coming in, what's Breezango going to do after this?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt like that's where they were going regardless. Like they were just a placeholder until New Day came in. So I don't know if New Day is coming in this week. Did they say they were debuting this week or just coming soon?
It's been coming soon, to my recollection of it.
So maybe they keep this going for another month.
Yeah,
but I mean, this was I thought it was what you'd expect. Yeah, I mean, the Usos should have won.
I'm trying to think. When's the last time on a pay-per-view that they essentially kind of made it a skit within the match? I mean, that's what really shocked me about this, was taking it to that level.
Yeah, so I missed that. So yeah.
Well, I mean, it was even funny. You could hear. So when so Tyler came out as the janitor, did that whole thing, and then he came back as a grandma. After he was knocked out, he came back, with the wig and everything. And even when he was doing the tag, he was whispering. He was like, "Fandango, it's me, Tyler." I mean, they really were playing up this idea of him doing the disguises, and it was clever, I think, to take it to this level, but it was just unexpected. You know, I would have liked to have seen a real match between these guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Usos retained. And of course we didn't state it, but I think there's not a single person on earth that believed Dolph Ziggler was going to somehow pull out a win against Nakamura in his pay-per-view debut.
Yeah, that was the only match that had like huge odds. Like I don't know if the smart money ever really came in. Even though I guess at the end the betting odds were pretty much all right. Yeah.
After that, Baron Corbin versus Sami Zayn. So, you know, I was thinking about your predictions to this whole thing, even down to when Sami won, and I was very shocked that Corbin did not destroy him after.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they do it this Thursday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was too. I was expecting that to be next, but they gave Sami the clean win.
Yeah. And I think he needed it at this point, especially with how much they've been just making. I mean, I'm not even an underdog lately. I feel like it's been perpetual, you know, loser, which has been hurting him a bit. So I think this was good for him in the long run. Mr. Matt Morgan, great to see you, sir.
Hey guys, how are you?
How's it going, man?
Good. Just a little tired. Sorry.
Did you stay awake for the whole pay-per-view?
Yeah. I fell asleep at the very, very end, though, and I had to go back and watch just now.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that. What'd you think?
I liked it. I thought it overall was a good pay-per-view. A lot of like matches like Harper and Rowan, and matches that on paper I probably wouldn't be interested, turned out pretty good. And I liked them for the most part.
And we're gonna get into this too. But did you catch Takeover last night as well?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Cool. We'll get into that after Backlash. But
so we're just talking about Zayn versus Corbin. Do you think this helps Sami regain something, Matt?
I don't know, because it's. I heard you what you're saying in the beginning. It's like,
yeah,
he slips on a banana peel and wins. He can only be the lucky loser. So the lucky loser who wins a match. So for so long, eventually he's got to be able to, be expected to win. But the match was good. It was very well executed. It got a little slow in there, but it was done on purpose, unfortunately, to get you not to expect him to pull out that win. But it dragged a long time there, I thought, during the heat.
Yeah, the whole pay-per-view seemed a little long tonight. I thought, no complaints about the specific matches, but I felt like they could have tightened it up a little bit just to keep some momentum going.
Yeah.
This is kind of petty, but Corbin's hair really looks like he's got to do something, because he's got that like Jack Nicholson in The Shining look kind of going, where it's just turning into a big ball spot right there. No,
it becomes distracting almost, right?
Right. It's like when Luke Harper when he's got he's changed it. Like I don't know what he did, but you don't notice it anymore. But with Corbin, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Naomi, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch against Carmella, Tamina, and Natalya. What did you think of this match, Matt? And did you see the end coming with Becky Becky tapping out?
No, I did not see that. But it served its purpose. Those three mega. Well, I shouldn't say mega, but those three humongous baby faces on one team. You know what I mean? It was good for the heels, the finish, but I don't know.
Yeah, Raj, where do you think they go from here? I know you were predicting that it would be Carmella pinning Naomi, setting up something between them. Where do you think the next logical step is?
I think that is. I think you see where it's splitting off to. I think. I mean, it looks like Natalya and Becky, Naomi and Carmella, and then I guess that leaves Charlotte with Tamina, which. Or maybe Charlotte with Natalya, since they got some steam on Natalya by beating Becky, so kind of gives her something to feud with.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought that was done hopefully for the purpose of setting up Natalya versus Charlotte.
Yeah,
that'd be a great feud.
Yeah, I mean they had great matches already in NXT. They had one on the main roster, so right. I mean they can go. So. That'd be. I'm all for that. I just hope they break them away from doing this team thing every week.
Well,
yeah.
And I hope if that's the match at Raw that they don't again drag Rick and Brett out and just make it, you know, a generational thing like they did whatever the pay-per-view was last year, you know, and they got Brett and Natalia putting Charlotte and Rick in sharpshooters after Charlotte wins.
Yeah.
But no, I thought the match tonight was okay, but yeah, they got to stop doing these 6 women tag matches. Let them have some real stories. So Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles. I have so many thoughts about this, Matt. I want to know what you think about this sort of to be continued note they ended it on.
You asked me, right?
Yeah.
This is the match I was most excited about. And I thought it lived up to its hype in a different way. The finish was very different. How do I explain this? Owens had to win.
Yeah.
But not, you know what I mean? So I guess this is how he gets his win, you know, quote unquote win. I thought it was creative in how they got there, but I don't know. Part of me feels like the fans got pretty pissed off tonight, not in a good way, pissed off with how the match finished. But those people are still going to tune in and watch the next, you know, series of matches between these two, though, regardless of them being pissed or not in real life, you know. So my opinion, though, the match itself was friggin' awesome. The work on AJ's leg was very good. And again, it's not easy to work the right side of the body. It's not easy to work the right leg or right arm for that matter, is because your natural instinct as a worker is to grab the guy's left arm, grab his left leg. It's instilled in you. And Kevin effortlessly did it working the right leg. It was creative with it too.
Yeah, I never really. I mean, I've seen like John Cena tape Batista's feet, or you know, with duct tape before, but this was different, and I thought the match was great. What do you guys think of the Chicago crowd? They seemed kind of dead the whole night.
They did. They seemed a little different to me. Yeah, they did.
And considering it's Chicago, and clearly it was a different crowd here tonight than at Takeover last night, because I mean they were on fire last night. But yeah, it just seemed like they never got going, and I thought they should have been into this match more than they were, because I thought this match was great, easily match of the night. I thought AJ was just fantastic. Kevin Owens was great, and I like the finish because I don't think he should have beaten AJ clean either. Even if they're not going forward with this feud, if they move AJ to Jinder or something, you don't want to beat AJ if he's going up. So yeah, I mean, I'm guessing they're still going with Owens and AJ, but I liked it.
Thought the cable thing was very creative. I'd like someone to look it up, though. Speaking of the crowd, we touched on this earlier, Matt. I don't know if you noticed. I think this is the first Chicago show I've heard in, God, I can't remember since when, no CM Punk chants. Like,
oh, they were there tonight.
You heard them? I didn't hear them during any of the segments. Where did you hear them at?
What it was during, unfortunately, which pissed me off even more, Jinder's entrance. Go back. When he pulled into the arena and they put the carpet out for him, I was pissed off. But they started it toward the end of that promo before he started speaking in Indian.
It lives on. That's unfortunate.
We're almost gone though. It's getting there.
Yeah, it's so close.
I thought they were going to crap on the Jinder match and chant it like all throughout that match, but it didn't happen once.
Throw "Let's Go Jinder" chants. It was great.
Yeah, I never thought I'd hear that.
Oh man, it's a contrarian town, not a heel town, just a town that I think likes to just sort of be asses, you know.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah. So the cable thing. So I'm trying to think, when's the last time there was a finish like that with the foot and the cables? I thought that was a very creative way to get the count out.
Now, they've done stuff like that before, where people get tied up and can't make it in.
But the specific, go for it, man.
I think Raj's call on Cena versus Batista is where someone was physically tied up like that and couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I think he's right.
Yeah, probably. So KO won that, so that's to be continued. Eric Rowan versus Luke Harper. What'd you make of that, Matt?
It's not his fault, but Eric Rowan needs a lot more. I don't know. I just feel like this. I wish we could have been injected somehow with, like, before the match started, with more background on Eric Rowan, so I cared more about these two this match versus me being I like this match because I'm a big guy. I like watching other big guys work, be able to see what they do and what kind of psychology they use and how do they work with their size. And I was interested in that, but that's not what you're paying me to do. You're paying me to be a fan and watch this and be entertained or not and talk about it. And as a fan, being entertained and talking about it like everybody else, I wasn't that entertained with it other than everything that Luke Harper does.
Yeah, I thought the match itself was fine, but it just felt like a bathroom break match, like it just felt like completely pointless. And I felt like the crowd, I mean, you could hear a pin drop during this match. And then they worked hard. I felt bad because Luke Harper, you could tell.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, he was trying, but yeah, I mean, and they put it where it was supposed to be, the death spot, on the card. And it was
one thing I wanted to say is that with this is an example of what happens when you don't let guys talk. Just because they almost made it so like these guys can't talk with their characters. And then guess what? They both need friggin' managers like yesterday then. They need some sort of mouthpiece so we can know a little bit more about these people, about both guys. Harper can kind of, his body language and his facials, he can almost get away with it more. Not almost, he definitely can get away with it more than Rowan. But in my opinion, Rowan needs a mouthpiece, not because he can't talk, but they need to fast forward about that guy so we could care about him now, not 6 months from now when they stop his little mini push that they were trying to do with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having a manager, you know what I mean, it goes above and beyond. They could have had him on commentary, talking about him the entire match, making us care about him. Week after week on SmackDown, having this voice, this other voice talking about him, making us care about him. Most importantly, and he's got a cool.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
He's got cool things, the masks. It's different. It makes me wonder about him. But then that's all. I want to know a little bit more. And it's not good to, it's not one of those things where I'm like wanting more. So I'm going to tune in next week to see what more they're going to give me about Eric Rowan. It's like, you guys you're not giving me enough.
And not just that, they've had, I mean, these guys have been together for what, like 4 years now? And they can't come up with a storyline. All they do is just kind of throw them as a throwaway match on a pay-per-view. I mean, there's so much you could do with this. I mean, you got 30 writers. You can't come up with a better storyline than what this was given.
Seriously. Even that stuff they did on I watched Talking Smack with Rowan. Like even that wasn't, I thought that was horrible. Horrible. Not because he did anything he did, because you could tell that they're giving him stuff to try. And it reminded me again when I was doing my stuttering character where that's not who that guy is.
Yeah. He seemed like he was acting.
I kept getting that vibe from him. He did a good job acting, but nonetheless, I could tell it's not him though.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think something new, something fresh would be good. I thought Talking Smack, it went on too long. Same thing with him tonight on the pre-show. I think less is more. When it just gets beyond the point of awkward, it's not intimidating or interesting anymore. But yeah, I think these guys need to be changed up and stop being paired together. It's not doing either of them any favors.
I think they need to change their outfits to be completely Wyatt free. You know what I mean? Like just get away from that.
Yeah. He looks good with trunks. He looks very different in trunks. He being what's his name?
Harper?
Not Harper. No, not Harper. The other one.
Rowan?
Yeah.
Well, Rowan, yeah. He used to wear these red trunks when he first came into either it was FCW or NXT. I believe it was FCW. And I remember looking at him like, wow, this dude's a friggin' monster. Like he has big, thick legs. Wasn't like bodybuilder, like athletic build, but big country boy strong look, and almost like a throwback. The way he looked in these plain red trunks and plain red boots, I think it was, and that's all as plain sounding as that is, it would make him completely 180 degrees different from what you're saying, getting him away from that Harper character, that Wyatt character.
Yeah.
But nope, they just invested in a whole bunch of new sheep masks, so I don't think there's going to be a repackaging anytime soon.
Right.
Oh, man. So we're going to talk in a second about Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton. But first, I want to thank the sponsor of this episode, DDP Yoga. You've heard us talk about it. You know about the benefits. You know that Chris Jericho, AJ Styles, Mick Foley, and tons of other stars have taken control of their lives and their health using DDPY. For a limited time, we got a deal for you. You can get the DDP Yoga Now app for 25% off at our link, or the DDPY DVDs for 25% off. And that includes 3 months of full access to the DDP Yoga Now app. We also got a special where you can buy a Max or combo pack at 25% off and get 50% off the second one. Here's what we want you to do. Go over to ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. That's ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. Take advantage of this offer. You don't need me to tell you again, guys. The year's almost half over. Believe that. It's almost June. If you haven't done it yet, get started today. You're going to love the results. You're going to love how you feel, and you're going to love just how you've improved yourself using DDPY. So go check it out, ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. And we thank them for sponsoring the show. So the big headline, we opened with it. Jinder Mahal's the champ. Yeah. Matt, I'm sorry, Matt.
Before we begin, I just turned my fan on. I want to know if that's distracting. Can you hear it or not?
No.
No, good, man.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So Jinder Mahal, Matt, I said, no one would have predicted it even 6 weeks ago. How you feeling? How you feeling about Jinder as our champion?
I think what a great story. What a great story all around. Now you can argue, okay, is that great, Matt? Good story for the boys for working hard and persevering and coming back in phenomenal shape and the whole nine. That is a great story, showing everybody out there that there is a brass ring. It really is a real thing. Because I can't begin to tell you guys how many of those conversations, how many of those meetings we would have at TV at SmackDown where Vince would give us the brass ring speech, and I remember always hook, line, and sinker, biting on it. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, but in a young, impressionable green guy type of way, going, I'm gonna go get it tonight, you know what I mean? And I'll show him, and I'll show them all, that kind of thing, and have that attitude in every one of my matches. And that's a good attitude to have. But after a while, I started to believe like there is no such thing. There is a brass ring for the right person on the right day. Everything has to line up. You have to be this guy's boy, that guy's boy, and they have to want you to do this. You have to have everybody on board. All checks across the board have to line up, politically speaking, and then you have to go out and execute, and then you have to get over with your character. All those things have to add up first, is what I always thought. But nope. Look what happened right here. Like, trust me when I tell you, nobody was wanting this to happen in that front office. Politically speaking, nobody backstage was like, a month ago or 2 months ago, going, we really want that Jinder kid to be our champion. Let's start grooming him. That wasn't it at all. There was a brass ring, and that SOB went out and grabbed it, snatched the shit out of it. And it's a great example for other guys on the mid card and lower that this could be you. Why not? So for that purpose, I love it. I love it. The question is that what, I hate to use this term, but is that what's best for business? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it can hurt. Hang on. You know what, Raj? I don't think it can hurt because didn't we feel Randy being champion was stale anyway?
I definitely thought it was. I feel like this definitely shakes things up.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. Raw ratings are dropping every week in SmackDown. Is this something that, like, is the casual-ish fans, the ones that are left, are they going to look at this and be like, "Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to tune in," or are they going to be like, "This is what wrestling has come to, and I'm out." Because as a fan of any sport or any show, there's always that time when they do something, you're just like, all right, I'm done with the show, and so
like Hornswoggle running into imaginary black holes in the wall.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: don't you think this is my conversation I always try to bring up, and I make it uncomfortable when I do, but I'll do it again? Don't you think that the whole stereotype that they're making Jinder into does hurt that for that purpose of the common person clicking through the channels and stopping and seeing some 1980s character making these?
Right. Yeah, I definitely think it does. Yeah, I think it just seems out of touch a little bit. It's one thing when and I know I'm of Indian descent, and you have a lot of Indian people on TV nowadays. It's not like they're just going to the stereotype that just seems outdated to me. So I don't know. It just seems cheesy, but
yeah.
And the crowd, they don't seem to be totally buying it when they're chanting for him. It was the guys were chanting "Let's go Jinder," and it was it was like that Roman Reigns chant where the guys are chanting "Roman sucks" and the girls are chanting "Let's go Roman." Except in this instance, it was the girls were chanting "Jinder sucks." There were no Orton chants really. It's more about Jinder.
Wasn't the deal with Orton being a champion just because it was owed to him? You said.
That's what the story was. Like it was, because of the whole Lesnar thing that they kind of came up with this plan. That he was kind of told that he would be winning the title at WrestleMania.
Well, then, I think this kills two birds with one stone. It gets a title off Randy, and because Randy doesn't need a title. It looks like you can look at it two ways. You look at it as the champion should be the best guy on the show. I've not looked at it that way in years, as a fan or in being in the business myself. I've looked at it as, for whatever I'm raising, it being a vehicle to help a guy who's right there at the top and could use it to really put himself over, like KO or someone at that level. AJ Styles at the time could really, cement them as, ta-da, this is our main event center stage type, guy. So I don't think it does anything for Orton. It didn't do anything for the company with Orton being champion. This does a lot. This does two things. It gets it on somebody new that nobody saw coming. It does three things, actually. And it makes you want to, the other thing being, it puts it on somebody that you didn't see it coming, right? But it also puts it on somebody that you have to watch the shows again because you never know what's going to happen, folks, here at WWE. You got to tune in and watch, as well as it getting it off Randy. Those three things.
Yeah.
Who gets it next?
I would say AJ, but I wouldn't do it right away. I'd do the build to SummerSlam.
Does the modern day Maharaja get it all the way, have it all the way through SummerSlam?
Oh, August isn't that far. This summer's flying. I feel like it's flying by already. I mean, it's only 2 pay-per-views before that, and
okay.
Yeah, you're probably going to do an Orton rematch. I mean, you could probably do three matches with Orton. So, yeah, we'll see. But do you think this makes SmackDown look more like a B show?
Ooh.
You got Jinder, who was a jobber 4 weeks ago. On the Raw, you got Brock Lesnar, who's the most protected guy in the company. And I don't know. I just just once it's like when SmackDown originally became the B show. Part of it was when they went to JBL, and he went from being a guy in the APA to John Bradshaw Layfield and WWE champion in a month. People didn't really buy it, and it just made the title seem weaker than the Raw title.
I was there when that happened with John, and maybe that's why I looked at it differently. But I remember thinking, like, at the time Hunter was champion of Raw and was unbeatable, and Evolution was on top, like nobody's business. And Benoit, I wanted to say, was about to come over and chase the title on Raw from SmackDown. But at the time, Benoit had been on SmackDown with us still. And I remember thinking we were better because I thought our champion, JBL, had more heat than anybody in the company. And therefore made that title mean more. Maybe that's why, maybe because I was on the show. I was like, maybe I had more pride in it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I don't remember thinking like, oh, wow, JBL's a champion. I remember like, this works.
Yeah.
But with this one, I don't know. I think you raise a good point, though. It's a good question.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where they go with it. I mean, if they keep Jinder strong and keep building him.
That's the thing. You've got to be strong. You can't be having him like have somebody else beat up AJ, knock his ass out, and have Jinder slip on a banana peel and cover him.
Right.
You got to stop doing that. I hate that 50-50 crap.
Yeah.
The match. What'd you think of the match itself, though, tonight, Matt? The back and forth with Jinder and Randy and the Singh brothers.
What it was going to be, absolutely excellent.
Mm-hmm. This was way better than I expected.
Because of Jinder.
And the crowd, and this was the only match where the crowd really felt awake, like into it.
Because I hate to say this, because they were like, wouldn't it be funny? It's like in a, what can I use this as? It's a bodybuilding show, and there's a fat guy going out on stage, and everybody thinks it's funny. Hey, but if we cheer really loudly for the fat guy, the judges got to make him win. Wouldn't that be funny? And it was like, it was that kind of reaction to me, in my opinion, bro, with the Chicago crowd. They're very smart, and I have a feeling they were very bored tonight. And wouldn't it be funny if we all started popping for Jinder?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But they did pop when he won too. I did get the feeling like a lot of people in that crowd wanted the title change. They wanted Jinder to win. I don't know if that's more has to do more with Randy. Yeah, I'm sure it does than Jinder, but the crowd popped big, and every time Jinder would raise his hands, the crowd were cheering at the end when he was celebrating with the belt. So I'm not sure that's the reaction WWE was expecting, but
no. But Raj, it's the anti-WWE guy in this environment, as far as what Chicago fans are concerned. Randy Orton is nonsense.
Yeah. Do you see that backdrop that Orton gave one of the Singh brothers on that table?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I thought like that guy's neck was gonna snap. Orton made a face right afterwards. He knew he overdid that one.
Yeah, he couldn't believe it either. Dude, those two guys are good. A lot more capable than what they're doing now. I worked with them at Ring King. TNA brought them in and as the Bollywood brothers, and they were fantastic, man. I mean, not like Young Bucks fantastic, but good tag team nonetheless. And can work their asses off. Good hard workers, huge WWE fans, the biggest you'll ever meet. And those guys would check in with me when I was with TNA, like every 2 months, and say, "Hey, is there anything that you've heard? Are they looking to bring us in? Is there anything you can do to help us, Mr. Morgan?" Like they were so thirsty to get an opportunity. So to see them here, I'm loving it. It's like one for the good guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good guys, seriously, good kids.
And it was good to see that they were okay, because I thought he might have gotten hurt with that backdrop on the table, but he geez.
Yeah, that was different tonight. Not taking they didn't. I mean, normally with table spots, take the monitors out, clear it off, but no, it's not. I mean, Randy threw Jinder over it fully up. The Singh brothers. I mean, you don't see that all the time.
It's kind of throwing I wouldn't say reckless, but throwing caution to the wind, I guess.
Well, it made it feel more. I mean, it felt as a fan more dangerous, because you didn't have this feeling of, well, he's clearing it off, and then of course it's going to snap. It was like, no, I mean, the table didn't collapse, just hitting him over it. Yeah, I mean, as a viewer, we're not accustomed to seeing that as much.
Bray Wyatt tweeted, "Damn." So he's in the that's funny.
Yeah. So Money in the Bank, 4 weeks away.
Money in the Bank. I'm sure it'll probably be Orton versus Mahal in some sort of gimmick match.
Who do you think the 5 guys are in the Money in the Bank ladder match? Matt, do you have a prediction of the 5?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Is it just SmackDown?
Yeah, just SmackDown.
Oh, yeah. I think they're gonna put somehow one of the two. Either it's Sammy or the dude who needs to shave his head. One of those two will be one of the 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, AJ could still be working KO though, correct?
That's what I would guess.
4 months, isn't that a long time?
Yeah, 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
I mean, it depends. Who the hell knows? I'm sure. I mean, it can go with all their top. It could be top 5 guys, or it could be they put Ziggler in there and they put like I said, Zayn and Corbin in there. There's 3 right there. Who knows?
Mojo.
Yeah, as soon as Baron lost tonight, I was like, as soon as Baron lost tonight, I'm like, oh, he's winning Money in the Bank.
Why? What was your logic? You mean?
Yeah. Because that's what they always do. It's like the person who wins Money in the Bank is someone that has kind of been on a downturn. So I bet it's Baron, Sammy, probably Rusev. I could see them putting him in there.
I think your Cole Baron is good, actually. Now that I think about it, I could see him with the briefcase. I could see him cashing it in. I could see him talking shit the entire time. about when he's going to catch it in. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
And I don't think it works for me, but it works for, I could say, with their logic with them.
Right.
4 weeks away. Be here before we know it. So let's talk a little about TakeOver last night. Matt, what did you think of TakeOver in the current state of NXT?
It's one of those deals where, like, I'm disappointed as a fan that there's not. I don't know. I watched it last night, like, haphazardly. Like, I was going into it haphazardly, I should say, as far as expectations go, and looking forward to seeing, like, my friends wrestle. Looking forward to see how Eric Young was doing. Looking forward to see how Bobby Roode was doing, and see how I wasn't excited for Bobby. Bobby is an opponent. I don't care about Kenta whatsoever. I just don't care about the guy. And I don't know if it pisses people off or not, but as a fan, speaking from a fan here, not a worker, I don't know. I don't care about his story. I don't care that he was passed over. I think he rightfully so was passed over because every single one of those guys got more over, whether a guy got injured or not. Those guys went out and were bloodthirsty, and they bypassed him because they were just hungrier, in my opinion, and better. I don't care what anybody says. So that story didn't care. It didn't matter to me. So with that said, though, Roddy's growing on me. Roddy's a little vanilla to me. So that storyline that they gave with his family being involved, and it was a little something more for me to sink my teeth into. I liked him fighting from underneath, him versus the world. I like that. I like that a lot. I'd never seen him work before, before this. I heard of him from Ring of Honor, but I never saw his work there. So I was always interested to see who was this guy, why do fans like him so much. And his whole backbreaker gimmick thing is cool, I'm entertained by that. But the roster in general is just so goddamn weak versus from what it used to be. But I think they took a step forward with certain guys. Roddy took a step forward, being an upper echelon guy. And what was the
DIY?
I was going to say, what does it say that Bobby Roode in the championship match wasn't the last match?
Right.
Yeah.
But they did go off the show. They did go off the air hot, by saving the DIY split.
Yeah, they absolutely did. I'll be honest with you. I don't care about those two working against each other. I don't. I like both guys as a tag team. I like them as singles acts. In my opinion, neither one of those two guys are main event acts.
Yeah.
To me, they're not. I'm sure everybody else there is, and I apologize if I hurt your feelings, fans, if these are your guys. But I'm just being honest. That's just my take on it. What's the two big dudes have gotten better again.
Authors of Pain.
Oh yeah.
Yep, they've improved again.
And they're probably, I'm guessing they're going with Bobby Roode and Drew McIntyre next for the August takeover.
See, now that's exciting to me.
Yeah.
More exciting.
Right. Yeah.
Kenta, I didn't care about him. What am I missing here? Tell me, you guys. What do you guys see in him?
I think he's just underperformed since coming to NXT. I mean, a lot of that's injuries and yeah, it's been a disappointing run. But I thought so. I saw that match. I haven't finished it yet. I haven't finished the DIY match yet, but I saw up until that. I gotta say, Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne was a match I didn't really care about.
Oh my god! Time out. Let me go back. Let me rewind. I'm so sorry. That made the whole entire show.
That was good.
It was awesome, and Jim Ross calling it just made it feel like a bigger deal. So you just had everything in the crowd. I mean, that match itself was just worth it.
Clinic.
Yeah,
that was a wrestling clinic. If you were to tell me in 2017, would fans be patient enough to watch a guy work somebody's finger? I'm like, oh, no way. These fans do not have the patience to let their guys sit there in the middle of the ring and work that hold. And it goes to show you, and younger wrestlers out there, that the fans will be patient. They will wait if you execute it like that.
Yeah.
Because it was masterful, dude. Like, as a worker, I'm watching this going, holy crap. Like, this is how Regal and Fit would try to teach us. And there's something I know I could never do.
Mm-hmm.
As a worker, I just couldn't do that. I'm not talented. I don't know what the word is, but it's not something that is in my forte that I can ever see myself doing.
Yeah.
And they're just so crisp, and so just everything they did in that match was perfect. And that 20-year-old they're both so far ahead of their time, especially Tyler Bate. I love Dunn. I've liked him from the beginning since we first saw him in the UK tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I love his shtick. I love his character. The fans now do too, which they should. But what I was gonna say is, did you hear what? Go back and listen, and you hear what's his name? The announcer, not Ross. My boy Desmond Wolf. What was his name?
And Nigel McGuinness.
Nigel McGuinness goes, yes, these two might be young, but they each have over a decade experience. I'm like, really? So Homeboy was wrestling when he was 10?
He might have been. You never know.
Get out of here.
I mean, not professionally, but if he had, a ring set up at home like the Hardys, There was somebody who was it? Adam Rose, remember? He's been wrestling since he was like 14.
Well, I was wrestling since I was eight. Sorry. Since I was 8 years old, man.
There you go.
With my old between me and my brothers, old pissy mattresses in the backyard and our ring setup.
And your WWE slam figures.
There you
Oh,
go.
Matt, we didn't get your opinion on Nakamura's debut. What'd you think?
Oh yeah.
You guys are gonna hate this. I did miss that.
Oh.
Kind
of didn't miss much.
I was gonna say, like,
it wasn't that climactic debut you would kind of hope for.
The fans weren't hot for him?
Not really.
No, it
was just there.
Yeah.
See, they did the one mistake I was hoping they wouldn't do. Well, the first mistake I thought they would make with him was they'd make him some stupid Japanese character of himself. So far they didn't necessarily do that. So that's good. The next mistake I was hoping they wouldn't make was let him talk too much. And that's all they've done is bring him up and put him on the damn microphone. It's like, no, this dude is a bad mamma jamma. You got to put him in the ring and have him start kicking people's heads off immediately.
Yep. But now we got 4 weeks of him and Ziggler trading banter.
Yeah. Man. He's not slick. It's not witty sounding. It's not like he never sounded like he ever won any of those verbal jousts to me.
Yeah.
Tuesday's a fresh slate, fresh opportunity. Let's hope they give him something new. I think with NXT though, even the point that we're talking about the UK guys is stealing the show, that ladder match going last. I mean, the women's division, where does that go from here? The tag division, where does that go from here? If DIY is feuding with each other, that's what I feel like. I feel like they've got
I think
but who's
NXT? I think it's Heavy Machinery that's next, and in the women's division, it's Ember Moon. I think they're going back to that.
Isn't Ember Moon out for 6 months?
No. It's just. I think it's just another month.
Okay.
I'm all for Ember Moon becoming champion, by the way. All for it. Yeah. But are you kidding me? Heavy Machinery? Are you joking?
No, that's up next. Yeah.
Yikes. Hey, whatever happened to that guy that he's going again? He was talking. Basically, he called out Drew McIntyre. He was a former tag team specialist at NXT for a while there. Oh man, what's his name? Drew McIntyre mentioned it in his post-match promo on NXT, and the NXT episode last week. Come on, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh, was it one of Blake and Murphy?
Blake.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, what's up with those two?
I think they're injured, right? One of them's injured.
One of them must be, because he mentioned the other one. He mentioned one. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because those two this would be a great opportunity for those two.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't know how much longer he's out for, but yeah, Heavy Machinery. NXT's just been kind of stale. I mean, I feel like Raw, SmackDown, and NXT have been kind of stale lately. I mean, SmackDown. This is interesting with Jinder. We'll see where they go from here.
It is.
But and we'll see how the fans respond. Like if you see a little bump in viewership or it stays the same, that's probably a positive. If it dips coming off a pay-per-view, then it's not.
I think there'll be an initial interest. I do. I hope so. I guess maybe I'm hoping more than I think.
Yeah.
But I will say this: if this isn't a clear-cut sign that they should not have signed Young Bucks and done anything it took to sign them, I don't know what is. Because can you imagine if they had the Young Bucks right now in that tag division? And I'm talking about NXT.
Yeah.
They'd have their answer. They'd have another top main event act in the form of a tag team. And they could really help those two big dudes get even better because they sell their tails off. It's impossible for them to be signed, right? Because they're under contract.
Yeah, they're with ROH. I forget if it's a 1 year. I'd have to go back and check.
No way out of that?
No. But I think that's just through the end of the year. I think they just signed, so it's not that much longer. It's like 6 more months. but I can't remember if it's 1 or 2 years. But WB just never seems like they want him that bad. So, I don't think they see him.
I don't know what they're looking for. These dudes were just on, just got their stuff in Hot Topic. That right there, I don't give a crap. Let's say those two couldn't wrestle a lick, which they can. They're better than their entire tag division, by the way. That right there, I'd be like, if I'm Hunter, I'm like, wow, here's two dudes who have more than gotten themselves over. Like, this is the epitome of going out and making a name for yourself on your own, with no machinery, with no overhead, with no anything behind you. You on your own and your own skill set and some social media. Please, somebody name anybody else on the indie scene in the last 5 to 10 years. I'm being dead serious with this, that have done more with less than those two in getting their name out there and getting their brand over. I mean, you can argue AJ and New Japan. New Japan's a monster. As far as being advertised and having somebody behind you, because he was their heavyweight champion. So
the Young Bucks are in New Japan too.
Yeah, they are, but they were well over before that.
Right?
Too,
yeah, for sure. Well, who goes to Hot Topic still?
Hey, I would go there to get their gear.
Yeah.
Now that their gear's there, I definitely would.
Spy it online.
Being serious, yeah, I'd get that, and I'd get and then make my stop over in Spencer Gifts afterwards.
Spencer Gifts, 30 years later, still in business.
Sam Goodies. Stop by Sam Goodies after. But also,
for the record, they have very cool 80s rock bands that I like t-shirts in there, like Motley Crue. So
yeah. So did you guys hear the offer from, was it 5 Star Wrestling to CM Punk?
Oh, is that the UK company offered $1 million or something?
Yeah.
That's real, huh? Wow.
It's real. I mean, it's a gimmick, because there's no way that, even if CM Punk wanted to, there's no way the UFC would allow him to do that, because he's under contract with the UFC. So, I mean, yeah, there's just no way. But there was a tweet today from the owner, Daniel Hinkles, that said, "I'm delighted to announce that CM Punk will participate in our 128-man tournament starting June 10th in Liverpool. Get your tickets now." Obviously, that's not true. So people,
how is that not illegal?
So they're claiming that it's a fake account. Someone else, it looked like Twitter had it restricted for a little bit after that, so it looked like it was hacked into. So, either it was hacked or it's a fake account. But
it was set up to be hacked.
Yeah,
So
could be.
It was hacked.
It
Pretty smart. So.
Gave him a little publicity, regardless of what happened. So
smart.
So yeah, people who've been emailing saying CM Punk's fight, wrestling in the UK, he's not. He's under contract with the UFC. He's doing this MTV reality show right now too, and that's about it.
Why in the world? I read that too. What in the hell would he have to do with? I used to watch this show. Real World, what was it? Road Rules versus Real World.
The Challenge.
The Challenge.
Yeah,
that's pretty entertaining reality show. Actually, me and my wife used to watch for years. Wow, what the hell would CM Punk have to do with this show? I don't understand.
I haven't watched it, so I have no idea.
The new season, so they changed the format, because I remember back, Matt, what you said when it was Road Rules versus.
It's supposed to be an all-star cast.
It used to be
an all-star cast of people from Real World and all cast from the Challenge, and you set up in all these obstacle course type settings and challenges, and who the winner is the winner. Week after week, somebody gets shit canned.
So they started changing it, and they made it like the vets versus just people that have never been on either show before that just wanted to compete. They did that for a few seasons. Yeah, there's been like 30 seasons of this show. I read about it on Wikipedia one night.
But don't they have to be? Don't they have to be first and foremost from Real World or Road Rules to be a part of the show?
No, they've taken the format and they've let people who have not been part of either be part of the show.
Yeah, there's a bunch of athletes on there now.
Random.
Yeah.
Famous ones?
Yeah, who's the guy from the NFL? Victor Cruz. Victor Cruz is on there.
Oh wow, that is different. Okay, Victor Cruz is a stud. Wow.
Yeah. So.
I was gonna say how ironic CM Punk making fun of Miz for years for being this MTV, star, can't work a lick and that kind of a thing, and CM Punk's on MTV.
Yeah.
On a reality show.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well.
Yeah, the last season that was just in February has people that were on Real World, Road Rules, Spring Break Challenge, Fresh Meat 2, and Are You the One competing. So they've expanded it now so beyond the core franchises and now athletes.
Those are all MTV shows.
Yeah, no, I know, but now they're expanding it.
So what do you guys give? So how would you rate this pay-per-view, Matt?
Oh, we got to give them credit here, guys. As far as shock value goes, and no one's seeing this happening. I got to give them. I've got to finally give them an A+.
Whoa! Wow.
I do. I really do. I think there's enough great matches on here to carry it over. AJ versus KO. And this is, mind you, I didn't see Nakamura, so maybe Nakamura's match, not his fans not being into his match may screw up my opinion on that. I need to go back and watch that. Maybe I give him a B+. Who knows? But I give them a solid A+ here because they took a guy from nothing, and over the weeks and made him into someone that was a somewhat credible opponent for the championship. And now went out and won the championship. And now we have a new champion that nobody saw coming. So for shock value alone, pulling the trigger on somebody young, new, fresh, I got to give it to him.
Yeah. I'd give it a solid B. I thought the main event was way better than I would have ever thought. The shock ending was fun. And I thought the crowd was cool in the main event. And then AJ and Owens was great. Again, Nakamura, I thought was a good match. But he was selling a lot for Ziggler. He was fighting from underneath, which just seemed weird.
Really?
Yeah, like the whole match. So,
Jesus.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd give it a solid B. It'll be interesting to see where they go from here. I'm guessing they're going to keep going with Orton and Mahal. At least until the next pay-per-view. But
what I just thought of? You give them a solid B, right? Or B+?
Mm-hmm.
B?
A B. B to B minus.
Whoa, you heard that there, folks. I was trying to give him. All right. I was going to say it sounds like they're doing with Nakamura what they did with Joe. Was it? You know what I mean? Like, it's so obvious. It's etched in concrete. Like, these two guys are monsters. It is paint by numbers booking with them. You make them killers. You make them monsters. They make you lots of money by doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to be going against the grain with that.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder if it's a test. You always hear about these stupid tests that they put these guys through before they become top guys. Almost, they build you up, then they break you down, and then they build you back up again. I don't, because this doesn't make sense to hear that he's selling that much in a match. I'm shocked.
Yeah. No, I thought it was odd.
It is.
Would you give it, Glenn?
I think a B is about right on. I love the end, but some of the other stuff was just kind of weird. And it wasn't the matches that were issues. It was just sort of the booking and, the storytelling of it. So we'll see where it goes Tuesday. But I thought the ending was great.
Sorry. The ending was great. The girls' match, too, was very underrated. I love the girls' match.
Yeah, I just don't want to see them together anymore with all six. SmackDown has done that now. I mean, I feel like this was the, all but one pay-per-view since the brand split. I feel like they've been doing.
Let me ask you something, though. Does it not make Natty Neidhart stand out even more?
Yeah, but do you take her seriously as a heel?
Leader of these? Because of who she is in real life?
Yeah.
She's like the sweetest person in the
world.
world.
And she always seems like she's acting. When she ended, she's like overacting as the heel and not in a way that I buy, That's my issue with. I think she's great, but just as a heel, I just don't see it.
Yeah. All right.
So 24 hours, gents. We're going to be back here less than that to talk about Monday Night Raw for May 22nd. So, Matt, anything you want to plug before we wrap it up here?
My pillow. I'm so tired. Look at my eyes. I'm so freaking tired. They are baggy. I got to go
to sleep.
Okay. We'll see y'all tomorrow night, everyone, on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Until then, take care.